Hello everyone, as of me recording this video, it's April 6, 2017. The next month is May, and that's typically when a new Dragon Ball game is either leaked or announced, or of course both. Dragon Ball Raging Blast 2 was revealed on the 3rd of May 2010, Ultimate Tenkaichi May 10th 2011, Dragon Ball Z Full Connect, let's not talk about this one that much, April 17th 2012, Battle of Z, June 31st, 2013, Dragon Ball Raging Blast 1 was leaked on the 15th of May 2014, and of course, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 was revealed on the 16th of May 2016 as the Fly Through Time project. And of course, on the following day, that's when Xenoverse 2 was officially revealed. So because May is only a few weeks away, I wanted to do a video just really talking about what my dream Dragon Ball game would be. So guys, keep in mind that everything I say in this video will be my opinion. Now yes, of course, you're welcome to disagree with me, but let's just keep it civil. I may turn this into its own sort of series or like a mini series on the channel. So everything I will say in this video will just be like stuff off the top of my head. So if I forget something or if I make some sort of mistake, then I'll be sure to mention that in like a follow-up video, like talking about that specific subject on its own. So before we do go into this video properly, I do want to say that I don't think the next Dragon Ball game to be released for consoles, or the 2017 Dragon Ball game, I don't think that's going to be Xenoverse 3. Now yes, Xenoverse 3 will happen at some point, given that Xenoverse 2 has sold well and people know what the Xenoverse series is for Dragon Ball games, but expecting Xenoverse 3 to come out in 2017, I just think it's going to be very unlikely, given that, again, as I'm recording this, it's like April 6, 2017. The third DLC pack hasn't even been released yet. We haven't even got a release date for it, so expecting Xenoverse 3 to come out this year, it's just not likely. And also, if the contract for Dragon Ball games is to be believed, a remake will not count to the yearly release. So if in May or July or whenever they decide to reveal a Budokai Tenkaichi 3 HD remake for, you know, the Switch, probably, I don't know, for like the Switch, Xbox One, PS4 and Steam, that's not going to count as the yearly Dragon Ball game. So basically, Xenoverse 3 probably isn't going to come out this year, and if a remake for an old Dragon Ball game is to be released, that will not count as the yearly Dragon Ball game. So essentially, we will get a new Dragon Ball game this year. So that's enough of an intro, I think. Let's get into the video. So I've been playing Dragon Ball games since the PS1 era, so like games like Dragon Ball Z Legends, Ultimate Battle 22 and Dragon Ball GT Final Bout. I've been playing as cast characters, also known as original characters, for quite a while, so naturally I'm a bit bored of that. So because of that, personally I wouldn't be too bothered if characters such as Nail, Second Form Frieza, Second Form Cell, characters like that, I just wouldn't really care or mind if they weren't included in future Dragon Ball games. But because I'm personally not that interested in characters like that, that shouldn't be the reason why they're not included. Now, Namco Bandai are the publishers of Dragon Ball games, so to me it makes sense to suggest that they own the rights to Dragon Ball games, so therefore they would own like the rights to like character models, stages, costumes, stuff like that. So what I would say is take every character model from Xenoverse 2 and Raging Blast 2 and then combine them and add them to the next Dragon Ball game, because if they're going to add characters like what, Goku and stuff like that, then I'd assume the studio that's developing the game would have to then like program the models and stuff like that. But if Namco Bandai ought to have like a massive archive of all these character models, like hundreds of different models with different outfits and stuff like that, just give them to the developer, the studio making the game, maybe, you know, alter them a little bit, but surely doing that would create less work for the developers, so therefore they wouldn't have to spend all of this time creating characters that are, you know, already in old games, so that way they can spend time making new characters that haven't appeared in a Dragon Ball game before and spending more time on other parts of the game. Again, it just makes sense to me to think that given Namco Bandai are the publishers of Dragon Ball games, not the developer, the publishers, it just makes sense to me to think that they would be the ones who hold the rights to the character models and stuff like that. I don't know, but to me, common sense tells me that this would be the best way to go if they want to focus on original characters. Character creation. The only reason why I brought Ultimate Tenkaichi when it was released was because it had character creation. If it didn't have that in, I just wouldn't have brought it because that wasn't the best Dragon Ball game. Let's say that just to be nice. Now, okay, character creation is something that You could either make very simple or extremely complex. Xenoverse 2 has a decent character creation tool. Now, it's not bad, of course it's not, but it's not the best one I've ever seen. Of course, you could say, oh, just add more hair options, more eye options, face options, colours, stuff like that. But only if they added everything that was available for cast characters and gave them to the character creation tool. So by that, what I mean is we could have Raditz hair, Vegeta's jawline, Goku's eyes. That was just something I came up with off the top of my head, but I think that just illustrates what I'm trying to say. I just can't see why that would be hard to do, given, well, if they're already in the game, I don't think it would take too much work to then add them to the character creation tool. I mean, again, I'm not a game developer, I don't know, but common sense tells me that it wouldn't be too hard to do. And of course, add more unique options. Now, in terms of what races should be added, and again, if I could have it my way, I'd say, well, take what you already have in Xenoverse 2, so Earthlings, Saiyans, Namekians, the Frieza race, and Margins, but add to that. So you could have stuff like, I wouldn't necessarily say androids because they just kind of look like Earthlings, but whatever. We'll definitely bio androids, which of course is Cell, and the Tuffle race, which of course is Baby. And off the top of my head, I'd also add an alien race. Now this would basically be not necessarily a leftover race, but if you wanted to make someone who looked like Janemba, then you would be able to do it by using the alien race. Now, let's talk about transformations very briefly. I mean, I'm not going to talk about transformations really that much in this video because, I mean, I made that for its own separate video because I could just easily talk for like an hour about transformations and the different possibilities. But, of course, all I will say on this is that Super Saiyan hair, oh, it's like a dead meme at this point, but Super Saiyan 1 and Super Saiyan 2 hair should be fixed so it's spiky, and by that I mean Super Saiyan 1 hair should be spiky, of course, and Super Saiyan 2 hair should also be spiky, but not just a copy and paste of Super Saiyan 1. So let's talk about stages. I mean, okay, I actually think Xenoverse 1, and especially Xenoverse 2, I think they did a good job with the stages. You know, like, it's not something people complain about. But the thing that I don't like is the fact that the stages in Xenoverse 2 especially that are locked. Now, I don't think these will be unlocked as part of DLC or free updates. They're just there and we can't use them. For example, Toki City. Yes, not Content City, but Toki City in Xenoverse 2. Like, there's one mission in the story mode where we go back to Toki City, which I absolutely love that mission. But apart from that, it's not used at all in Xenoverse 2. We can't use it as part of a parallel quest. We can't use it for offline multiplayer or online multiplayer or like an endless lobby. It's just not available. It's like, well, the stage obviously is playable and it's working as intended because it's in the story mode, which you could argue is one of, if not the most important, well, I wouldn't necessarily say it's the most important part of the game because, you know, replayability in terms of online is like what keeps you playing. But what I'm trying to get at here is that, well, it's obviously working as intended because it's in the story mode, so why not just give it to us as part of, you know, the stages? I just don't see why they'll do that unless they're waiting to give it to us as part of a future DLC update or something like that. But I don't think they will do that because even in Xenoverse 1 it was locked and we just couldn't use it. Now granted, in Xenoverse 1 we couldn't use the time rift, but that was given to us in Xenoverse 2, so maybe there is some hope for us here, I don't know. But just give it to us, it's already there, just unlock it please, thank you. And same thing goes for Frieza's spaceship. Now yes, I'm probably missing a few out, but these are just what I can think of off the top of my head. But Frieza's spaceship, I mean, but we've been there for a few missions anyway. Like, it's obviously worked as intended. Like, I think there's like a few parallel quests where you're actually fighting in it. And I think the reason why they said they didn't want to give it to us in Xenoverse 1 was because apparently, and I can't remember where I read this from, so just keep in mind that I may be lying unintentionally, so my bad, but apparently the reason why they didn't give it to us in Xenoverse 1 was because I think they said something like it would make it very awkward to fight in online. But that begs the question, well, there's already a few parallel quests in Xenoverse 1 and Xenoverse 2, I believe, that you're in Frieza's spaceship. So if they thought that it would be very awkward to fight in online, why is it part of the story mode, and why are there a few parallel quests where you're fighting in it? It just doesn't make sense. So again, I mean, I may be just getting mixed up with something else here, but it's already in the game, just give it to us. If people don't want to play on that stage, then they just won't pick it. Like, did you see where I'm coming from here? Another note about the stages is I'd like to prefer something not 100% physics based, because I think that may be a bit too stressful for consoles to handle properly. I mean, I don't know, maybe, again, I just don't know, but some sort of physics based system would work quite nice, especially in a Dragon Ball game. Oh boy, okay, so online. Common sense tells us that we need good servers, like very reliable servers dedicated, strong, minimal lag. I mean, there's going to be lag anyway because of like the individual connection that people have like from their own internet, but the servers themselves need to be good. Like Xenoverse 2 did a much better job than Xenoverse 1, but I think they can improve them a bit more, let's be fair. But assuming the servers are the best that they can be and lag is non-existent, well, okay, so recently in Xenoverse 2, like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, they introduced the character exclusive mini world tournament, which lasted like through Monday to Friday. They lasted for 3 hours. Like in UK time, it was like from 7 PM to 10 PM. And I think on a weekend they had like one major tournament which lasted like all weekend. Like, that's cool. But I loved these mini tournaments because given that they only lasted like a few hours, like through Monday to Friday, it actually made you think like, actually I could kind of win this if I really wanted to. So because of that, and if they decide to go for another hub world rather than just menus, then have like mini events in the city or whatever it's going to be. And by events, I don't mean the freezer invasion thing or raid missions. I mean, raid missions are fine if there's a worthwhile reward, but let's be fair, the freezer invasion quote-unquote event, it was boring. It sucked. The first time it happened, like the very first day, it was fun. Second day, it's like, oh yeah, whatever. And like the third time onwards, it just became repetitive and annoying. Now, to make the hub world feel more alive, they could add some sort of dynamic weather system or a day and night cycle. That would actually be quite nice, to be honest. Like, especially seeing like Content City and maybe Toki City at night, but then again, well, I mean, there's a sun, like a star in Content City, so yeah, they could do that, I suppose. But I mean, adding events like maybe some sort of, you know, maybe Zamasu comes, like merge Zamasu, rise and destroys everything, and then like you have like a certain amount of time to do something, or Xeno will come and wipe everything out. I don't know, like I'm just like thinking of things on top of my head, like I've already said before in this video. Like they can really come up with like more ways to make the hub world and online when you're not battling just feel more alive. Maybe even racing, I don't know. But in terms of online modes, I mean, you got like what? Rank battles, plane matches, endless battles, expert missions, parallel quests, they're all great. Maybe, I don't know off the top of my head, you know, adding player world tournaments that are controlled by players, who knows, but I may talk about this in more detail in, you know, an online exclusive video talking about what my dream Dragon Ball game would be. Now, like I said in this video before, I've been playing Dragon Ball games since the PS1 era. Now, granted, the only game, if I remember correctly, from the PS1 that actually played through the story mode of Z was Dragon Ball Z Legends. So, I've played the story mode in Dragon Ball games a lot. I know what happens. It's kind of boring now, so if they add character creation in, make a completely unique story mode experience. Not like what Xenoverse 1 or 2 did. I mean, Xenoverse 1 was interesting because, you know, it's like stuff happened to the original timeline, but I want something that is completely unique. Something like Ultimate Tenkaichi, but actually good and fleshed out and longer. Starting off like fighting Raditz, that's boring. Why not start off fighting, I don't know, I mean, Mira? I don't know, like, do something completely unique that gives us a reason to want to play and replay, like branching story modes maybe, I don't know. Yeah, but again, just to sum up this point very quick, give us something unique, something that's not Raditz to Kid Buu, something like Ultimate Tenkaichi, but, you know, more fleshed out like I've already mentioned. For the final point for this video, I want to talk about DLC. So, I come from a time where, okay, that makes me sound like a time traveller, but I come from like a point, like, my first console was a PS1, then of course the PS2, then PS3, then PS4, but I grew up on games where DLC wasn't even like it just wasn't something that existed. Like when you brought a game, that was it. If like there's something wrong with the game, you'd either have to like wait for them to re-release it, or like a sequel, or if you wanted more from a game, like there's a sequel, like they wouldn't cut content to sell as DLC later on or anything like that. Like it was all on the game. But with that being said, I do know that the gaming industry now, you know, it's like DLC everywhere. So what I'd say is don't announce DLC until the game's actually been released. Like focus on making the game as complete as possible, then work on DLC. Like make it feel like we're buying a full game rather than, oh, we can buy the game now and the DLC. Like we'll announce that you can play as like what? Champa, Vados, Frost and Kaba before the game's even been released. You can play as them, you know, as part of DLC. Now this may be me being just a bit old-fashioned, I don't know, but like make the DLC worthwhile. I'm not happy with any of the DLC yet in Xenoverse. Well, both in Xenoverse 1 and Xenoverse 2. In my opinion, I'd say for each DLC pack we should get at least 3 characters, which wouldn't include different presets, variations or transformations. So in Xenoverse 2, DLC pack 1 should have had Frost's first form, his Xenomorph form and his final form, and that should count as 1 character. Cabba, of course, base form and Super Saiyan Cabba, and then I don't know, like a 3rd character. But I mean, being fair, in the first DLC pack it should have been Frost, Cabba, Vados and Champa, or Frost, Cabba, Magetta and Bergamo, whatever his name is, not Bergamo, the Winnie the Pooh looking guy. But I can kind of see why them two wasn't added, because they're like giant characters. But you know, Broly is like Broly's massive, so I don't know. But yeah, like I'm not happy with the DLC. At least 2 new expert missions, maybe 3, 5 new payload quests, a few mentor trainings, lots of new attacks. Like, this is just me again, maybe being a bit old-fashioned, but whatever. So yeah, I mean, I do have a few other things, well, quite a lot of other things I do want to talk about, both like topics I've mentioned in this video, as well as, you know, other stuff. But again, if you guys want me to, you know, make this its own series where I'm like just talking about what my Dragon Ball, what my personal ideal Dragon Ball game would be in more detail, let me know. Or leave a comment, leave a like, and we'll see what happens. So, thank you guys for watching the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. And that being said, I'll see you next time.